Hello guys. Ugh, why did I say hello? It's weird. Hi guys, I'm Ivory and today I'm going to be doing a wear test comparing two foundations. The first one being the Elf Camo CC Cream, and we're comparing it to the IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC Cream, the matte version. I don't have the original version, so I don't know if it's good, but I'll be putting each of the foundations on each side of my face, showing you how it looks initially, and then I'm going to check in throughout the day to show you how it wears, and then we will determine a winner. Although if you've watched my wear test on each of these foundations, because I did do a 2-day wear test on each of these, then you kind of already know who the winner is. But I still suggest you watch these videos just because I do go more in depth in my dedicated videos for each of the foundations versus this one where I'm just comparing the two. I will link them up in the cards. I feel like those videos are like Star Wars 456, and then this video is the prequels. Ivory, did you really just compare your low budget video to the multi-billion-dollar franchise that is Star Wars? Yes, I did. And for anyone that's new, I have normal to oily skin, but for most of my life, I've had just oily skin. And on top of that, I also have acne-prone skin. So a lot of my wear tests are catered to people with oily and acne-textured skin. So if you find that this review is helpful, I will link up in the cards a playlist of all the other foundations that I have reviewed. End of intro. Let's get started. Okay, so each of the foundations, like I have said, is a CC cream. The Elf one has SPF 30, whereas the IT Cosmetics one has SPF 40. And they both are infused with skincare, not the exact same things, but there's some overlap, I believe. Hold on, I should have really been more prepared. Let me look that up. So the Elf one has collagen, peptides, and niacinamide, and the IT Cosmetics one is infused with charcoal, colloidal clay, hydrolyzed collagen, peptides, niacin, hyaluronic acid, vitamins, and antioxidants. So some overlap, but this one seems to have more packed into it, which could be a reason to justify its higher price point. And this is a sample size because it came from Sephora. If you get the full size, that's $39.50. So they are very similar, but having done a wear test on both of these, I can assure you they are not. One of these is an imposter. All right, so I have already prepped the skin. I've moisturized, so I'm gonna go in with primer today. I'm gonna use the Elf Poreless Putty Primer because I remember the Elf one really emphasized all the texture that I had. So I wanna smooth everything out, and this is from Elf, so you would think that Elf products work with the Elf CC Cream, right? Right? Logic. So I'm gonna apply this in all the areas where I have quite a bit of texture. I'm gonna do both sides, so both sides have the same products on, so both sides will have the same products on them. I'm gonna apply a little bit to the nosy and the chin. Okay, and then let's go in with the foundations. I'm going in with the Elf one first, and then to blend it, I'm gonna use the Microfiber sponge by Juno & Co. You guys know that this is my favorite way to apply foundation because every other sponge, it seems to shear out foundation when they compare it to a brush. But let me tell you, a microfiber sponge is different. It is so much better. So I agree when people say, oh, my sponge always gives me less coverage than my brush, but that's because you're not using a microfiber sponge. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. And these are really inexpensive too. I think they're like $6. And then I'm gonna do the IT Cosmetics one next. Oh, and I forgot that this shade is way darker. All right, so I'm gonna look really weird today. Like one side is gonna be normal and the other side I'm gonna look like burnt toast. Cool. I'm going in with another microfiber sponge from Juno & Co. I'm gonna use that one to blend the side. Oh, the shade difference. The thing is, these sample sizes, they only had like 4 shades. So there wasn't a lot to pick from, okay? It wasn't my fault, damn it, by the way, guys. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek because you guys are awesome and deserve it. The next wear test that I plan on doing is going to be the new Fenty pressed powders. They're coming out in Christmas, which is a week from today that I'm filming. So I will be ready for it. I have really high hopes because I loved both of the foundations that she's come out with. So I have high expectations because that is a steep price point. I think they're $35, $40 maybe, which is to me expensive. I think I have financial dysmorphia. I think I'm poorer than I actually am, and I'm constantly worried that when I buy makeup, we can't afford it, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. And I know that, and yet I still panic every single time I buy a high-end product. Does anyone else have that problem? Okay, so this is one layer of the foundation. You could see in my forehead, like there's a clear shade difference. And I'm gonna walk around like that. Thank God for the pandemic. I don't have to leave my house. I'm only gonna do one coat today. I like the coverage on both sides. This side though, I will say on one layer, it's medium full, depending on how much you have to cover up, just because you can still see a little bit of my acne peeking through, especially here on my chin where most of my acne is residing right now. But the IT Cosmetics side, I would say gives me more coverage. This is full to me. Getting up close, so I have acne on both sides of my chin, and you can see it's sort of flaking. It's not too bad because I just applied it, but you can see right off the bat on the IT Cosmetics side that it just covers acne better. But this is what it's going to look like initially. I am going to fast forward the rest of my face, all of the products that I'm using, with the exception of my eyes because I had black eyeshadow, so I didn't know what the fallout situation was going to be like. So I thought it might be better to do my eyes first. But all of the products that I use are in my description box. Alright, so this is what my makeup looks like all complete. It is a little bit harder to pick apart areas where they meet because as much as I try not to cross-contaminate, there's a little bit of blending that happens, you know, when I have concealer on and stuff like that. So right down the middle, it is a little bit harder to see the differences, but I do see some already. So if you remember, the lighter side is the IT Cosmetics side. And you can see right here, even though I had the poreless primer underneath, it still looks really textured right here, and it's only on this side. And this is a really tricky area, so it kind of always happens, but it doesn't happen right away. It usually happens as time goes on and the foundation starts to break down and deteriorate, but this is still relatively fresh. I mean, I've been wearing the foundation for maybe 30 minutes at this time, so it really shouldn't be happening so soon, but it kind of is. Only in this area though. Everything else, for the most part, it looks the same. So that is it for now. I will check in. I'm not sure where I'm gonna check in because I do want to show you what this looks like in natural lighting. So I don't think I'm gonna make it to the halfway point because it'll be dark. So I'll just check in when I decide to check in. See you then. Okay, it is the 4-hour mark. Can you guys see my Christmas tree? It changes. So I like white lights, but Steve likes rainbow lights. So I got a tree that alternates between the two, and it has different settings. So I could do just white if I want. We could do just rainbow if I want. But to compromise, I just thought I'd have the lights that go back and forth between the two so that Steve gets to see his lights and I get to see mine. And I bought this Christmas tree after Christmas last year. So I got it for 70% off. Just like that, I decided to change my channel. I'm officially a Christmas tree review channel. If it's not a thing, it should be a thing. But this is what my foundation is looking like. In terms of oiliness, I'm still pretty matte on both sides. So I'd say in terms of oiliness, both are doing pretty good, but let's get close up because then you'll see the real differences. So just a reminder, this is the Elf Camo side, IT Cosmetics side. You could see right here in my T-zone, again, this side is more textured, the Elf side, than the IT Cosmetics side. There's just more visible lines and like these hash marks in my forehead, like, you know, when you scrunch right there and then the foundation kind of creases in the little scrunch lines. I see more of those lines on the Elf side than I do on the IT Cosmetics side. But right now at 4 hours, it really doesn't look too bad, but I do see more of those lines on the Elf side. And on my nose, you can see that it's starting to break up right here and it's looking a little bit splotchy. But on this side, look at that. Perfection. You can see right at the edge, I'm starting to lose a little bit of coverage. You can't really see too much of those differences from this distance. It's only when I get up close is when I can see the subtle differences. Another common problem a lot of people have is on their upper lip. Hopefully you can see, but the Elf side, first of all, you see that smile line, it's starting to crease already 4 hours in, and it's just a little bit more splotchy on this side than it is on this side. I said this analogy in the Elf CC Cream review. Best way I can describe how the foundation is looking in places like my chin and my upper lip and my T-zone. It's like if you have an elastic band that is relaxed and then you paint over it, and then once the paint dries and you stretch it, the paint is gonna crack once you stretch that elastic, and that's pretty much what it looks like in those areas. So when you get up close, those things I notice more so on the Elf side than the IT Cosmetics side, but from a certain distance, they actually look decent. But that is it for this check-in. I will check in at the 10-hour mark to give you my final thoughts. All right, we have reached the 10-hour mark. Honestly, I was a little bit scared at the 4-hour mark because they looked pretty similar. And if you watch the review that I did for the Elf CC Cream, it's the end, so I think I can spoil it, but I do not like that foundation. But it looked okay at the 4-hour mark, and I was like, oh god, did I just make a whole review and now I have to like retract my opinion? But I forgot that it actually looked pretty good at the halfway point on my dedicated video for it. After the halfway point is when things went really downhill. This is my 3rd try with this foundation. I've tried lots of different techniques with it, and I can confidently say my opinion still stands. But I'm gonna show you. Let's come here. This is the Elf side. You can see on my chin, you can see the separation. It is cracking, it is emphasizing all the acne here. Whereas this side, it's just starting to crack a little bit, but it doesn't look as textured, and it's definitely not as splotchy as the Elf side. Mind you, both sides have acne, so it's not like this side was worse than this side. But the IT Cosmetics one covers acne way better, and it doesn't break up that much around texture. Moving on to the next problematic area, which would be my upper lip. You can see the Elf side just looks really worn, whereas the IT Cosmetics side, there's a couple of like line hashes from where my skin creases, you know, when I smile and when I talk, but it's super faint. Whereas when I turn to this side, I can see it right away. Moving on up to my nose, it actually looks the best that it's ever looked of the 3 times that I've tried it. Usually there's a pool of oil and foundation just collecting in the crease. So the fact that there's not as much as before, I mean, it's doing better today. But again, I'm gonna take notice that it is a little bit textured, and it kind of is hard to tell if I was just wearing the foundation alone, but when you have IT Cosmetics next to it, then you see the difference. This side, I mean, there's still a little bit of oil right here in the nose, but it's just more polished, it's smoother, nothing is breaking up. And then the last area is the T-zone. And I can really tell on this side that it is super splotchy. This side, however, this is how we do it. feel like my camera doesn't pick up what I see, but I'm telling you, if you were here, you'd be like, yes, Ivory, I completely see the difference. I will say in terms of oiliness, they actually look pretty similar. Like for 10 hours, I don't really look that oily. At least I don't think so. But the one thing about the Elf CC cream is that it just does not do well with texture. The only place where my foundation looks good on the Elf side is my chin. That's not my chin. This is my cheek. Let's try that again. The only place where it looks good is my cheek. And that is because I don't really have acne there. It's a big smooth surface. And that's why I will admit it looks really good. It's staying in place. Nothing's bunching. What is bunching? Are we just making up words now? Bunching. On my cheeks, everything looks really good, but I also don't have a lot of texture here. Can you imagine how this would look if I had the acne that I had a year ago when I had severe acne all over my cheeks? I don't think that this foundation would hold well at all. It would look so much worse then. And I said this in my Elf video, that you almost had to have perfect skin as a prerequisite to get this foundation to work for you. Like, how are you gonna gatekeep CC creams? Why? All right, why didn't any of you tell me that my lash was like hanging on its last leg? Now I look like a fool, okay? And after I put out my video and I saw the reviews, so many people were saying that they loved the Elf CC cream, and I thought I was going crazy. I started to second guess that maybe I was doing something wrong, but then I looked again and all the ones that I saw, most of them had nearly perfect skin, super smooth, basically no wrinkles. So of course they're gonna give it a great review because like I said, my cheeks, super smooth, very little texture, and it looks good there. The areas with acne or very textured, not so great. So basically, any areas with acne, texture, where there's a lot of movement. Obviously my mouth has a lot of movement because I talk all the time. And also the middle of my forehead because, you know, you make expressions. It doesn't lay well there. With that being said, I already knew. I've been known who's gonna win. The IT Cosmetics CC Cream in the matte version is the winner, and I know technically it is more expensive. However, if you go on the IT Cosmetics website, there are multiple sizes. There's one that looks like this, it's the full size, and there's one that's smaller. It's about 3 or 4 times the size of this, and that one is $15. If you think about it, $15 versus $14, I mean, there's only $1 difference. So you can save your money there, and it's also a great way to try that foundation without having to spend the full price. So that's what I would do. I'm trying to save you some money, okay? I'm always looking out for you. That is it for this review. I hope that it was helpful. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. I try to post new videos every single week. If this video was helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and feel free to comment down below what foundation I should try next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!